What is up, guitar playing beauties, guitar playing people? We got another great weekly practice session for you all. Just 15 minutes this week. Sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's 15. So a little more efficient this week for those of you who are looking for that. But as always, the exercises are timed. So if you're a little short on time, you can adjust these and make them shorter. I like 5 minutes per exercise, but if you need to go 2.5, 3 minutes per exercise, that's A-okay. We've got some accuracy. We've got a great little kind of funk strumming piece and a piece of Jimi Hendrix's Red House solo, because there's some good elements there for everyone to work on. And then you'll be on your way. As always, if you do find this helpful, I change things up every single week. So we'll have different skills and textures of skills inside of all the subsequent weeks and practices. So if you do find it helpful, make sure to like and subscribe so that you are tuned in to all of those future practice sessions, right? Put this on the front end of your playing session, all the songs and solos you want to learn, and it will be, really applicable to all of the skills that we all want to acquire as guitar players. So there's my plug. There's all the housekeeping stuff. There is a link, final thing, there's a link with the downloadable PDF to all the exercises in the description. So I don't want you having to come back here every single time you want to put in a great practice session. Download it. You've checked this out now and be on your way and use it inside of, the rest of your sessions this week. All right. So there it is. Let's start off with this first exercise. It's an picking accuracy specifically exercise. We're skipping strings, and it's based on some really simple chords, basically, nice bar chords, right? So we got our G, A minor, we got a C element, and then D, and then we would restart. So based on, that progression, 1, 2, 4, 5. So all we're going to do is play these two notes and then these two notes. And that's going to take up our G portion. Then we're going to move up to our A minor portion, which will be, right? So same kind of breaking of the chord. We're just playing, opposite direction. So we got G in the high E and then D and B. And now we're going D and B, G and high E. Same pattern for the C. And then we're going with D, same thing, but it's that different shape, right? It's the A bar chord shape. And for those of you who are hearing this and saying, oh, that's too simple. Well, listen, the separator, and I say this a lot, the separator between beginner, intermediate, and advanced is how clear, how well you play things, the emphasis, your clarity, things I've already now covered, but that touch and that feel, you just know, a beginner playing versus somebody more intermediate. Right, playing those same few notes, you know the difference. It's a touch thing, it's a feel thing. So if you feel more advanced, or let's just start with beginner, if you're on the beginner side of things, you might want to just set a 5-minute timer, no metronome. Make sure that sounds out, clearly. Take your time to move from string set to string set to string set. Right? And that might be your entire, 5 minutes inside of this exercise. If you're more intermediate, you might want to say, okay, I'll go through it once just doing downstrokes. And then, your next time through, you might want to do alternate picking. Alternate picking while skipping strings might make things a little more funky for you. Then, obviously when you feel good with certain shapes, patterns, positions, the metronome is your best friend. So if you start playing here, well, playing that a little faster, right? You still want to play it at a pace that feels attainable, but you can pick up the pace. All right, try the just down picking, try the alternate picking, switch between the two. Add some flavor if you'd like. Right, sliding into each note. It's really up to you, but again, you should be able to approach these things and still get a benefit from it, approach it differently and still get benefit, whether or not you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced player. It's up to you to kind of warp things to help yourself and give yourself that good feedback of, oh, you know what, I'm not quite ready for the sliding into each note. That's okay. I'm not quite ready for the alternate picking. Or, you know what, I am ready for the alternate picking, but the sliding thing is funky. I'm ready to pick up the pace and the tempo, but not quite there. Whatever it might be, right? You have to be honest with yourself inside of any practice session, right? So there's the accuracy piece. Let's not beat you over the head with that. 5 minutes, and then we'll get into this strumming piece. And this can definitely be funky for people. My tabs don't necessarily have the exact strumming pattern, but recognize that it's down, up, down, up, down, up, in a fluid manner. And what makes it sound the way I'm about to play it is simply your inflection when you're muting strings and when you're picking the strings, right? So here is exercise number 2. So obviously we repeat after those patterns. Listen closely to the strumming. I don't have the, I'm not going to give you the exact strumming pattern, but I think that helps you in the long term. You have to listen and decipher, and remember, you're strumming quickly. And you have to recognize, the upstrokes, right? The difference between those, subtle differences between an upstroke and a downstroke. And just hear that out. Right, so take your time. Listen through it. If you end up getting frustrated and it's not quite the same, that's okay. If it still sounds a little funky, like you got a good little strut going on, that's great. If you want to just go, downstrokes, for example, you don't get it at all. Right? You could technically do that. You can change it up based on your capacity. If you're a beginner, right, you might slow it up completely, do something different, just to feel out. Small bar, bringing the ring finger in, small bar, bringing in the middle finger, and, really quick, before I just kind of let you do it on your own, A minor, and you can, think about this as add 9, B minor, G, right? E minor. All right, so just things to think about as far as the chords are concerned. But there's exercise 2. Just quick, again, when you're done with 5 minutes, you'll feel that much better about the kind of muted aspects, the upstrokes, the downstrokes, and ultimately your picking hand will just be loose, right? So that's important. So you've got this accuracy for the picking hand. Now you've got this like fluidity. This should be loose. You should never be too tight and rigid on, fretting or picking hand. So now you'll be in a good place. And even though we haven't really warmed up, bends and pull-offs and things like that and hammer-ons, we're still going to go for this solo, and you'll still have 5 minutes, or a part of this solo, and you'll still have 5 minutes to refine it. All right, so here is exercise 3. It's the opening portion of Jimi Hendrix's solo on Red House, right? That intro solo. This is the opening portion. There's some cool elements here. So let's listen to it really slowly. This isn't how he plays it, but let's listen to the elements, and we'll go over it quickly, all right? So there's the solo. I'm laughing only because, I'm playing with this clean tone. Doesn't sound as good. You can really hear blemishes a little bit more with that clean tone. So I don't have a bunch of distortion on this. And of course, you don't have the backing. You don't have the bass playing. You don't have any backing guitars going. You don't have a drummer. So, none of that, none of those kind of swampy elements get, muddied out with the other, tones inside of the sonic spectrum. So let's go over this slowly because it might sound a little bit better. Basically, we've got these 3 bends to start. We're going from 10 to 12. So think about your bend needs to take this B string on the 10th fret and make it sound like 12. Now, when we're going gradual and we're focusing on bends, outside of like a solo, it can actually sound clunky is kind of the word I always come back to certain things in the guitar. When you're just kind of hitting off a feel, right? That bend, ends up sounding a little bit better. You're a little bit quicker on it. So it can sound a little bit more fluid, a little sexier, I suppose. So we're really isolating things so we can take this solo and learn how to take pieces of our solos and, try to make them sound good, even though when we're isolating them, they might sound a little funky. So we're taking 10, bending up to 12. And it might take you a second to... We got 3 reps though. You can always check. Then we had these 2 quick bends, same thing though. Right, you can hear some of those notes that I'm hitting. But again, if I'm playing this quick inside of a song with bass and drums and distortion, you might not be as tuned into it. So just keep that in mind, especially if you're doing that for yourself, playing on a clean tone, you're gonna hear your blemishes. Then you go right into, I use my middle finger. Right, so right into this. Now on this next portion, you're hammering first. You're hammering into a bend. And so listen to that, solo. Again, he's got to tune down half a step. So if you really want to play along, you'll have to either tune your guitar down half a step, or you'll actually have to play this in, B flat, right? Technically he's playing in B, but because he's tuned down half a step, it's B flat. So just keep that in mind. So let's just play it super slow. Just to get those bends, in the right place. It's really, in my mind, we're isolating this because of the bending component. Going from ring to index is funky, but you'll see that inside of some Hendrix solos, and you'll see it inside of some, Stevie Ray Vaughan, anyone who knocks off Hendrix, you'll see that where you take this bend, and as you're coming down, you go right into the middle finger. And sometimes, you have enough time to switch back to ring, but sometimes you don't, and you got to go middle finger. So this is a great way to learn that skill. This is an interesting one. I don't always rip pieces of solos, other people's songs as a practice element, but I do think there's some unique things inside of this little just section. And I think it's really helpful. And I think it's also helpful to, for those of you who don't always nail a song or a solo that you're trying to learn, remember you have to slow things down. You'll go on YouTube, you're already here, go to a song you like, let's just take Red House, for example. Click into the settings and bring it down to 65% speed, right? So now you can really hear out every single note. And when you go back to the songbook, it might be slow enough where you realize, oh, the songbook doesn't have everything right. Or maybe you're noticing, oh, dude, you missed something here. That's not exactly how I'm hearing the intro. That's okay. Having that kind of time to discern exactly what's happening is important. But this is big on the bends. And of course, playing it in time, go slowly. But then you can put on your own, I'm playing in B, put on your own B blues backing track. Let's put one right over here and try to play along. Right? And see if you can kind of put it inside of a rhythm, put it inside of a blues backing track, or just chop up the elements and take a big bend. then, stay inside of that one little section and you can get some great tones from there. Obviously Steve Perry stays inside of this pentatonic shape like for eternity, in so many of his solos. He's like really hammering that shape. So just keep that in mind. And let's just leave it there. I feel weird. I almost feel like that last thing might not be as valuable. I hope it is, but trying something new. And even as I'm playing, I'm like, oof, wow, I can clean that up if I really, really zero in, right? That's one where I think if I play it quickly, it sounds great. But if you really slow things down, like, ooh, I got some stuff I could clean up, right? So just things to chew on, things to mull over, but I'm sure it's now been too long for these 3 pieces. So anyways, enjoy, like and follow, or like and subscribe to the channel, download the PDF, and that's that. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.